live.
Hello.
No, we're live. No.
Oh, not like now.
Yes.
Weren't you supposed to give me a beep when we were going live? There you go. That's right, you geeks. Welcome into the Echo Screen, the official podcast of the Clan of the Grey Wolf. As always, I am your host, the Commodore.
Ding, ding.
You even had a can to hit today, and you didn't do it.
Sorry.
And with me, as always, to my left, opening a soda. A soda.
I'm glad there's spurt everywhere.
Yeah, is the who always has just delicately manicured nails, Rue.
I do, actually.
How you doing, Rue? Hey, quick, take a drink while I ask you questions.
I got a drinking problem.
Perfect. 2 hands and only one mouth. Yes. Well, we are. It seems like a long time since we've been here. Is it just me?
What, like 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's been a while.
That's so long.
It's longer than we normally have.
It's like a year.
Normally, we're here a lot.
It's like a dog year.
A dog week. Dog.
So 3
fortnight?
human weeks is a dog week. That almost makes sense. Stop
Maybe it's a
doing
cat week.
Sign. Yeah, we got the sign.
Yeah, the sign. We got a new background, huh?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Woo.
Yeah. Woo!
Magic.
All right, so we're going to talk about some stuff today. The reason it's been a while since we've talked has been because of E3.
Oh, yeah, that.
I thought we were going to say the closing of 38 studios, but that wasn't it.
How many studios closed down?
38?
know,
The
I
joke's
find
still
that so
good.
funny.
The joke is still good.
You know, the crushing of people's livelihoods, funny and worth it just for that joke.
That is true. So we are going to talk about E3 today in many different ways. But we didn't want to do just a standard old E3 show. So we're going to talk about the relevance of E3. And those of you that are Weekly Ringer watchers, and I know many of you loyally are, maybe we'll spoil a little bit of the thought of some of the thoughts that I might have for this week's Weekly Ringer. But anyway, different story. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of the news, which really wraps into E3 very well, because a lot of the news that we're seeing today really happens to be something that was announced or at least developed at E3. And then we will get to many of you, your favorite part of the show every week, which is the string cheese. We watch Rue actually devour string cheese in disgusting fashion. As much as can happen
Boing, boing.
on a ding ding bitches. So we will actually get to the question and answer section. So if you have questions during the podcast, or
What we should talk about?
what?
How we're not watching Boardwalk Empire.
we're not doing that right now.
No.
I wish we were though. Let me tell you something. If I had HBO,
Have you been watching it?
no.
You shouldn't.
Well, listen, I need HBO before I do that, and I haven't committed.
All right.
I got to get the HBO. Once I get the HBO, I'll go and I'll get back on the Game of Thrones,
Yeah, all right.
and then the Boardwalk Empire.
A little bit of Dexter.
That's Showtime.
I'm impressed you knew that,
That's Showtime.
since you don't watch it.
I don't watch it. In any case, so anyway, we could talk all day
This
about
is good string cheese.
This is good. It's
Kroger-
fine.
Kroger
That's some fine
brand.
quality of string cheese.
Hey, you know what? We're wasting time.
We are wasting time, so we're gonna get to the Q&A session. If you have questions
What Q&A? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
if you have questions during the podcast, and it could be just about whatever we talk about on the podcast, or you might want to talk about something else. Maybe you have burning questions about
Boardwalk Empire.
the things that Boardwalk Empire, or the things that we do in our spare time, like watch Boardwalk Empire, or don't.
That's true. Mostly
Please
don't.
send a personal message to. This is the part where you go and cue it up.
Sorry.
I was waiting for
Eat
you
my
to
string cheese.
basically figure that out. So you can actually go send a personal message there if you see it in the chat right now.
COTG dub.
So all you got to do is send a personal message, a private message there, personal message. Private, but don't make them personal, please. Send a private message there, and we will answer those questions. We will assemble them. We will answer them in intricate fashion at the end of the show.
I see that what Dre 2G2 did there.
What?
Boardwalk Rebel Alliance.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Not really.
No.
Anyway.
Interestingly enough, E3 happened. I don't know if you knew that.
So mostly we got to talk about some E3 and string cheese. But there was one big news story that we really got to touch on that happened a few days ago.
And that was?
The Microsoft iPad. Touchdown. Linsanity.
Linsanity was over like 3 months ago.
I'm still sad.
I know, it is. It's crazy. I know. Well, people still talk about him being the savior of the Knicks. I don't know how that works. Anyway.
And yes, Akira VGA is correct.
About what?
Surface.
Surface. There you go.
Thank
Apple Surface.
Apple.
It's funny how now, like, it's funny how, Apple or Microsoft was copying Apple with, I mean, the joke when Windows 95 launched was that they did everything but remove the Apple logo from "Please, you may now shut down your computer." Right? You remember that? Those of you that were around at that
you used
point,
to think that was hilarious because you were an Apple fanboy.
I was not an Apple fanboy. I was a Macintosh fanboy. Let's get that straight. Secondly, now Microsoft seems to be doing a game of catch up, if you will. That's not part of the string cheese. So they seem to be playing a little game of catch up with the iPad now to make Microsoft Surface.
Yeah.
So,
which, funnily enough, is a brand name that they've been using for a while for that tabletop thing that we saw several years ago at PAX East.
Which is awesome.
Yes. But
and it's great for gaming.
They're rebranding.
And apparently collaboration, because they still sell it. With
yeah,
a
but
joint
they're
venture with
rebranding it as
Samsung.
something else.
Right.
But regardless.
It's a neat little, interesting tool. Anyway, the point is, they're developing different levels of this Surface
D&D table thing
that are based around different versions of Windows 8.
Yes.
So you have a Pro version.
Which naturally makes sense.
I couldn't agree more.
Since Windows 8's obviously not made for desktops.
Well, and obviously, Apple's had such tremendous problems because they only have one version of their operating system that they use for everything, right? So
okay, so we got Mr. Bowtie guy here.
If you're going to copy them, anyway, go
who's
ahead.
already saying the Surface will fail because of iPad's head start. Boom! Shot across the bow from the Apple camp. What do you say to that? Apple's got 3-year head start. They're the man. They're selling hand over fist.
I'm overwhelmed by this question.
Now.
So, first of all, you're assuming that I'm actually on the side of Microsoft in this.
Didn't say you're an Apple fan.
Nope, not
just
at all.
From the Apple side.
Nope. Just a little play here, a little quick
giant
pro quo.
Apple fanboy.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Just there you go. So Microsoft has. Oh, the other interesting part of this is that. So this is why it's interesting. So we'll get into who's going to win in just a minute, but
everyone.
Let's talk about what this is not interesting news except for these few facts. Mm-hmm. Number one, Microsoft is now apparently for the first time ever
serious
in the PC business. Something they have not been in for 30 years.
That's almost more interesting than the whole tablet thing.
It's much more interesting.
They're making their own hardware. Well, they're not making their own hardware. I'm sure they're contracting out to someone in China. But regardless, they're designing their own hardware.
Yes.
Very interesting.
That's interesting fact number one. Interesting fact number two. They are actually building these tablets with versions of Windows 8 that are not x86 based, but instead will run on ARM processors.
Yeah.
This is the first time ever that Microsoft has developed a version of Windows.
Now pretend I'm a 5-year-old.
Yes.
What did you just say?
So instead of running these tablets on the traditional Intel-based, AMD, so on and so forth, x86 architecture, back from the 386s and the 486s from way back, right? Now they're running on ARM chips, which are smaller, much more power efficient, and usually used for things like cell phones and smaller platforms, right? Mm-hmm. They have completely different architectures, and Microsoft has always been ardent about the fact that they don't make Windows for anything but x86 and then Windows Server for other platforms, but that's a different story, right? But they don't make Windows for the tablet platforms for the other processors of the world. So not only are they making their own hardware now and getting into the business they haven't been in for 30 years, they're doing so on the ARM platform, which is interesting considering their previous relationship with someone like Intel,
which is what the other one's going to be,
and AMD,
based
right?
off of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting choices. Microsoft is definitely getting very strategic right now. And if you've read the letter from Steve Ballmer to the entire company,
the world,
it's a very strategic time. They're definitely making some very big bets. Now we can talk about. Now that we've talked about what the big
deal is,
oh my god moments are. Yeah, what is the big deal?
So I didn't give really a care that much about the Windows tablet during all the rumor phase.
Yep.
Nah, and I was looking at getting a tablet at some point in the next year of some sort.
Yep.
But not Apple. So probably an Android of some sort.
Yep.
And now I'm completely focusing on. I don't know if I'm going to get the Surface, but I'm definitely considering it.
Yep.
Because I lost the point. JSC 315 a while ago made a very good point that the iPad is awful for production. iPad and Android devices, for the vast majority of their existence, are consumer devices.
Yes.
They're meant to consume things.
Correct.
Videos, games, music, etc.
Yes.
Whereas I like to create things on my computer.
Yep.
Like videos once every 6 months. Or live streams, where we talk to people.
What are those?
I don't know.
I heard they were popular. I just thought maybe you knew.
Where the Beard Ninja and the Bowtie Guy, with their pink names, look like sisters.
That's interesting.
Yes, exactly.
Sisters.
So that's something you can't do.
That is a good point.
Well, maybe you can on an iPad. My point is that you have an architecture here with Windows 8 that's, it's tabletified Windows.
Yes.
But it's still Windows. You can still, in theory, and granted we don't know a lot about what's going on.
We don't.
In theory, you're going to be able to run a lot of Windows. I'm not going to say Windows apps because they're freaking computer programs. A lot of Windows
all
computer
apps
programs.
are computer programs.
I know. I tweeted this the other day. I'm so old. I remember when apps were called computer programs.
Well, I mean, they're applications and just a shorthand for them. I mean, well, anyway. So, all right. So what you're saying then is that this ecosystem will still be based around Windows, and therefore retain some of the compatibility and the computing, I guess, applications of Windows because of that.
Right. And I'm assuming, as Kurari says, that I'm assuming it can run Win32 applications.
Yeah, you are assuming that. And I think that that's a big assumption. Because
I think that's a fair assumption.
Well, wait a minute. To run Win32 application, you have to run some kind of virtualized version of Windows that can run on an ARM processor that has some kind of hypervisor.
No. I'm talking about only the
between.
Pro version.
Okay.
I'm talking about only Pro. The
Gotcha.
ARM's going to be iPad, Android,
yes.
thing.
Yes. But my point is, the fact that they're all going to run some version of Windows 8 would make you assume that there's going to be some kind of interoperability between them, whether you buy a Pro or whether you buy the consumer level tablet, right? Mm-hmm. So you make a good point. I don't know how that interoperability is going to work.
And right, Bowtie Guy makes a very good point. It's obviously not stable yet. They're not close to a release. It froze up during a presentation today.
Wow, nothing from Microsoft has ever frozen during a demo, except for everything they've ever shown ever.
What was it, Windows 95 that froze up? Or was it 98?
I think it was 95.
Probably both.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that never went anywhere.
No, God, no. Nobody bought that.
It's very early. I think it's too early to say if it's going to be an iPad killer, but I don't think it plays in the same space. At least not the Pro version.
The Pro version does not.
You know what this is going to be? This is going to be something bought by businesses, for the most part. The Pro version.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, and I think they're definitely trying to develop something that is a little bit more business based. I'm still skeptical of that, and as a person that has these kinds of conversations every single day with businesses all over the country. I am a little bit qualified to talk about this.
I forgot you're like knee deep in this every day.
So people do generally. The reason that Apple's had a tremendous amount of success is because they've won it in completely the opposite way as how Microsoft has won every piece of business they've ever won. Microsoft begins, as most companies do, with the enterprise, and they win everything in the enterprise, and then they go and they slowly kind of work their way out to the consumer level. Mm-hmm. Right? The consumer business is not their big business. Their big business is business. Apple is completely the opposite. Apple wins the consumer space, and then it starts to penetrate the enterprise, which then
they what?
What grade are you in? Third. Anyway, so but the reason Apple's done so well is because they've really sold consumers, and then consumers go, oh shit, I could use this at work. I'll go bring it in and I'll try to put this on the wireless LAN, and then I'll go and make everything really insecure. The point is, that's why they're winning right now, because they're being pervasive in the consumer space. So I don't know if Microsoft can win with that strategy.
I just think the big differentiation here is that, yes, Apple has a lot of apps. They have a lot of
Yes.
elegant software.
Yep.
But it's a completely different monster from the program